mean, the whole thing was about collective bargaining for teachers, right? They didn't want to lose their right to collectively bargain. And what I kept saying was, hey, look, that's fine for private unions because their customers have leverage too. You want leverage, but your customers have it. If GM's union at the auto workers, if they go on strike and they strike for higher wages and higher benefits and so forth, okay, that's going to drive up the price of the car, but that's okay because their customers can choose to buy cars somewhere else. Okay? If your customers are a captive audience, if you have guaranteed revenue, if your customers must buy, if GM's union could force its customers to buy their cars, would we want them to have the right to go on strike and make them more expensive? Of course not. So it's nothing personal against you guys, nothing against unions in general. Private unions, yeah, they should have that right. You're a public union. You have a captive audience. And here you have an audience that you will not allow to have vouchers, so you will not give them any leverage. You deny all leverage to them. You even deny the leverage to your union membership to choose whether or not they want to be in it, and yet you demand leverage for yourself to demand more from the state. One last thing, the people you're demanding it from, the politicians, are people you put there with your donations. So your bosses are people you own.
They essentially got a raise, and when you look at the numbers that are cited in this article, it says that the state branch of the National Education Association used to have 100,000 members, and that's dropped by a third. And then also that the American Federation of Teachers, which is organized in the college system, that has dropped by 50%. Those numbers are huge.
When you think of the union dues that go directly to Democrats in campaigns, this is in Wisconsin an enormous drop in campaign revenue. Now they're still doing well, the Democrats are, because of all the out-of-state money coming in, the hate Walker money. But they're doing the rest of us a favor because that money's coming in from all the other states. Okay, so because the unions have been so damaged in Wisconsin, they're having to give a lot less money to these campaigns, right? Because they're operating on the margin. It's not like if they lose 30%, they only drop their campaign donations 30%. They have their basic fees don't change. I mean, their basic costs. Sorry, their what they make and so forth. So it's going to lower it even more. So that means that tons of the money to go after Walker and go after Republicans in Wisconsin is having to come from out of state and from our states. Scott Walker did a favor for the GOP nationwide.
I mean, we've mentioned multiple times that this is Wisconsin. That is one of the bluest states out there, especially when you take into account how strong unions are in some of that old manufacturing area like Detroit and Wisconsin. That they were able to do this, that they were able to get rid of the unions, forcing people to join, forcing dues, that they were able to get a Republican elected, withstand a recall election with millions coming in from outside sources, and then win another election, turn the economy from $2 billion deficit to now running multi-million-dollar surpluses. We need to be using Wisconsin as an example that it can happen anywhere. If you can turn Wisconsin unions around and you can turn that type of debt around, it can happen anywhere. Why not Boston or Massachusetts? Why not New Jersey, New York, California? We need to be trumpeting this as a success story and show how when you have choice, union membership clearly goes down because they don't provide enough of a service. And when you cut all the budget items like he did, and you're fiscally responsible, look how the economy turned around. Look how many jobs they have. I mean, we need to be trumpeting this everywhere.
All I can think about is, no, not that I'm glad you're going through pain, but I could think, my gosh, after all you caused, all these people, all this time, all the choices, all the freedom you ripped out of people's hands and enjoyed every second of it, now you actually, for the first time, have to compete for those union dues, and you can't cut it, and you're whining. Good.